What is going on, Knight? How you doing today, buddy?
I am good. I need to get rid of echo. There we go. Trials and tribulations of first episodes.
Right, trials and tribulations. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Citizen Talk, brought to you by myself and Mr. Knight. I had to remember which way to point.
I think, are you over on this side? Which way are you?
I'm on this side.
Nope, you're that way. You're on my right.
One of those things, you know, where we're going to sit here, we're going to talk about pretty much whatever is Star Citizen related, which is a lot of maybes, probablys. It might be broken. It's probably broken.
It is broken.
Yeah, and as I just turned on my tracking by accident. But it's probably broken and things like that. But yeah, we're going to have some fun. We're going to kick off today's night. Floor is yours. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. How long you been playing Star Citizen and what got you into the game in the first place?
Oh, I'm going to be talking for a little bit if that's the whole thing. I am MrBKnght. Call me Blue, call me Knight. The B stands for Blue. I've been streaming on Twitch for about 5 years now, and I just discovered Star Citizen in January. And the person that got me into it was actually a coworker of mine. He's on Twitch by the name of Defiant Badger. Little did I know that I was going to be hooked on this game. Bugs and all, love this freaking game. I've spent, I don't know how many hours playing it. I would be willing to bet that I've probably surpassed some people that have been playing this for years, and even in the short amount of time that I've been playing the game. But yeah, what else did you ask? I already forgot because I've been talking a little bit.
I mean, pretty much just introducing yourself and okay, so let me ask you this, and then I'll introduce myself. What is the one feature so far, since you started playing 7 months ago, that you have enjoyed the most?
Oh, Lord. I'd have to walk through my entire not existence, but experience with Star Citizen to get that. Like, I started out with cargo missions. I jumped in with nothing but a Cuddy Black. Yeah, tough questions right off the bat. You're right. I started off with the Cuddy Black. That was the game package ship that I purchased to get into the game, and I was running cargo, trying to figure everything out, mechanics. Loved cargo, still love cargo. And my first goal actually was to get a Freelancer Max, the 120 SU capacity ship. And I think that's when I met you and Optics, because I was streaming and I was like trying to get to 4 million credits and trying to get this ship. And then all of a sudden here comes these two millionaires and they're like, here you go.
Yeah,
and then
pretty much.
You guys got me into the bounties and looting the cargo ships. That became my next favorite thing, and then mining was the next thing after that. And now I'm joining orgs left and right. So my favorite mechanic right now, or thing to do in the game, I would have to say is a tie between running cargo and mining. I enjoy doing both. The bounties are fun too because it's a mix of a little bit of everything: battles, looting, cargo. But yeah.
Sorry, the wife just walked up and goes, "Where are you? I'm trying to find you."
We're on Twitch.
I almost forgot the channel name already.
I typed in, I'm not gonna lie, I typed in Citizen Chat earlier and I'm like, no, that doesn't sound right.
New follower.
And I tried to find like the most spacey follow alert I could come up with, and go figure, female robotic voice sounds like a ship's computer. I think that works great. I might have to adjust the audio a little bit on those, but
we need to get Sigourney Weaver from Galaxy Quest to do all of our voiceover stuff. Computer, is there another beryllium sphere on board?
Right? Oh, Jesus. So mining, cargo hauling, and
Bounties.
I mean, you've gotten pretty good as a pilot. I mean, just with keyboard and mouse. I will say this: when you get those joysticks, which mine are over here, clipped to the desk.
Oh, I can help.
It's gonna be a learning curve, my friend.
Fun fact, I am a pilot in real life. I know how to fly helicopters. It's been a hot minute, but I have really, really good eye, hand, foot coordination, and even my flight instructor, when I first started learning to fly, he's like, did you fly before, or did you go practice someplace? I'm like, no, I'm just really good at moving my hands and feet and everything all together. I was able to fly a helicopter on my second flight, which was, it's no easy feat.
No, that is not as easy. Sierra, I will answer yours in just a moment. So for anyone else who is joining us, I am EvilTactics. Also a content creator on Twitch. I have been a live stream creator for, when did I start on Twitch? 2017 is when I started out on Twitch. And then I took some breaks here and there, which I do quite often, because now I have a 1-year-old running around. What is up, Gonda? How you doing? Been playing Star Citizen religiously for the past year. Have played it since 2015 when I started backing the game. And yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I love the game. I love the ambition that CIG has for this game, even though some of their decisions are quite questionable. But I mean, when you have a game that is in active development and that you can actively play, you know there's going to be bugs. You know there's going to be, days when the servers may be down, which, since server meshing, luckily we're not getting 30K, 60Ks, and, all these crazy errors anymore. But when I first saw the first trailer for the Kickstarter, I was just like, this game has got so much potential. It's going to be awesome. And sure enough, it's been a fun game. Yeah, it's had its ups, it's had its downs. It's made $800 million across 2 games. Technically 3 if you count Arena Commander, because that seems to be one of the most stable branches of it.
That would be a fair assessment. I mean, that's a game within a game.
Yeah, because Arena Commander kind of came out before the PT or the PU. It was kind of like, the first time we had, first-person combat and whatnot. So I think it's fair to say that, it's 800 million split across 3 games, which is what a lot of people seem to forget about. But, yeah, see, what did I ask you? Yeah, I enjoy pretty much every aspect of the game. Mining was big in 3.18, which is when they really pushed it and introduced it. So I got into that then. And then lately, right now, it's just helping run these orgs, meeting new people, and, just having a grand old time, because that's exactly what we can do in a game that it's endless. And, I mean, some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight is stuff that we longtime backers have been waiting for 10 years now. And we're finally getting it, which, hey, I'm not going to give CIG crap because, again, they're building a game from the ground up, not something they have 30 years of experience doing. So, kudos to them.
I will say that I feel a little bit bad because I'm jumping in at what I feel is the perfect time. Yes, there's still bugs. Yes, there's still things they're working on. Yes, I was just watching the Con-42 video, that whole 6 inches worth of, the table, the 50-foot long table, the analogy he used. There's so many things that they're still expecting, but I feel like just in the last couple of months that they've gained a lot of traction. When I joined in January, even from now, there's so many improvements that they've made, and I haven't seen nearly as many like server errors, or heck, I haven't seen an elevator disappear in quite some time. Knock on wood. You'll have to do that for me because my desk is metal, but find some wood somewhere, please. But yeah, just the improvements that they've made so far is, I feel like right now for anybody that's new, now's the time to jump in and take advantage, especially of free flight week and Invictus too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly it. You know, being a newer player like yourself, you have come in at a very good point in Star Citizen's history, because even a year ago, it was a rough game. I mean, 30K, 60Ks, you'd have $100 million worth of, it's a random number here, but you had, $100 million worth of Quantanium in a refinery, and then the server 60K'd, which when 60K was the thing, 60K was server death, which means when you logged back in, you never got that refinery in order again. Unless you got real lucky that 3 days later you go back to that refinery and there it is. It reverted back. Because sometimes that's what they did. They would revert the server back a day or so. But yeah, for new viewers, hi. But for new players like Sierra Fox, for instance, which is my wife who's sitting behind me eating food, she asked a good question. For someone who's new to the game, what would you recommend them to do first? Cargo hauling, mining if you want, just run missions. Find people like me and Knight, where you're going to be able to meet a group of people, like the org that we're a part of, Machina, and grow and learn the game, and not have someone going, "You freaking suck." What if you want to FAFO? You can fuck around and find out all you want, because guess what? It's Star Citizen. And it's just one of those games where you're going to be tested. Your patience is definitely something you're going to learn to get patience in Star Citizen, because nothing is quick.
Oh, yeah, no, it is not.
We hop in. We want to do a quick Hathor mission. Guess what? We're spending the next hour getting set up, meeting at a point, and just getting things going, just to then sit at a hole for the next 2, 3, 4 hours, fending off other players and just having a blast. But that's things you can do in Star Citizen that you can't do in other games. And it's one of those things. Like, we go back to the Con-42. If no one has seen the Con-42 video, the first 8 hours of it are in German. You're not going to understand a damn thing unless you speak it. I do not. If you skip to 8 hours, a little past 8 hours, that's when they do the panel with Jared and Torsten, which is an interesting name, Torsten. But they
up on an accent from him. Was he part of a European team?
Yeah.
Jared's definitely American.
Yeah. Jared's definitely from the US team. Torsten's probably from somewhere in the UK, one of the European teams. Based on his accent, I want to say he was probably part of the Germany team. But they dumped a lot of info on us at Con-42. I mean, new things coming to the game, engineering's coming in, thank God, finally. Fires, they made that very known. Ships will be on fire on the inside. Can you talk starter pack for noob? Dog shit. Love the username. Welcome. Starter pack for the game. So
I've got that on the to get to lists, just so we keep things moving. But we could definitely talk about that.
Warlock 1121. What is up, buddy? Is it worth the grind for a new player? And do the older players treat you like crap, or are they helpful? No, Star Citizen is... So I'm going to... Warlock, I'll get to your question here in a second, but Gamer, I don't want to swear too much here. But gamer, to answer yours, it depends on what you want to do starting off. If you're looking for something with cargo, like you want to make some money quick off the bat, you want to do stuff, you're going to want to be looking at probably one of the Star Lancer starter packs or a
Freelance.
Cutlass starter pack. Yeah, something like that. I mean, you can go straight to the big shit. You can, but I would recommend the Freelancer's a good all-around ship. She's tanky. She can take some hits. Her guns are no slouch. And if you got another person with you, then you got someone in the rear turret that can help defend you. But yeah, really for starter packs, Cutlass is a good one. My wife got the Nomad, so it's a little bit of a pickup truck. You know, she can carry a little bit of SCUs and whatnot, and it's the pink ship. So she gets to have some fun in that. Starter pack for a noob. But yeah, that's really, when it comes to starter packs, buy what you feel comfortable with and go from there. I recommend starting with one of the, if you got the budget, $100 ain't too bad. 45, yeah.
You've got absolutely no idea what you're doing, and you're just like, hey, check out this game. Somebody said Star Citizen, look at it, and you'll get to the, Robert Space Industries website, and you're like, oh my God, there's so much to pick out of what does what. It is a bit overwhelming. I would definitely suggest starting with the Cutlass Black starter package. It's not one of the lower end ones, but the Cutlass gives you a wide range of things that you can use. You have cargo, you have defense. It's not as tanky as like a Freelancer is, but it's a bit more nimble, and you can get out and in and out of whatever you want to do quickly. So
and it's got a pretty
that's
good,
my 2 cents.
And it's got a pretty good amount of firepower on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's got it. I mean, so does the Freelancer. You know, but if you're looking for, if you've got the money for the Cutlass Black, go for the Cutlass Black. I mean, the Freelancer and the Cutlass Black fall in the same range. They're both 125 USD. If you really want something that's got some storage space and can take some hits and that multiple people can play on, and you got the money, go for the Connie.
Yeah.
Go for the Andromeda, or go for the Taurus even. Taurus still has a lot of firepower. Not as many missiles as the Andromeda, but the Taurus has got 120 SCUs of cargo space, 100 SCUs.
The Taurus is, shoot, I use that all the time. It's like 170 something.
Is it that much? Okay.
Yeah, it's not far off from like the Star Lancer Max.
Yeah, so Warlock asked, is it worth the grind for a new player, and do the older players treat you like crap, or are they helpful? I will take you. Newer. Yeah, I would say you take that one because you are the newer player.
I've only been playing this for what, 5 months now. What the heck is it? It's
May, so no, you started before January.
5-6 months. Had no idea what to expect. I was asking the same questions that you are, and ever since I started, the only people that I've ever caught flack from were griefers in the game, and I don't even interact with them. I just get shot down by them around planets, and I've only run into like 2 in my time, maybe 3. But as far as like the older players, the ones that have been playing this for forever, like Evil and some of the other players, they're freaking awesome. The community is amazing. There's always people in global looking for other people to meet up with, and not necessarily jump into an org, but there's other people that are in orgs that are always inviting people along too. So
yeah, pretty much. I mean, you can't go wrong. Is it worth a grind? So there really is no grind at the moment. It's more or less. So Star Citizen, where it currently sits, is not like your average MMO. While there is some form of grinding, mainly running missions left and right, going to bunkers, fighting the NPCs, fighting other players even, to earn money. Once you get in and you get yourself with an org like, me and Knight, and you meet other players like us that are of sound minds and not, completely off the rails, and this will tie into Sierra's question. Yeah, everyone's very helpful. Sarah asked, what are griefers? And I believe is how you spell it. Yes, you spelled it kind of correct. But I'm not going to give you grief for it. Griefers are players that want to do absolutely nothing but murder you and send you back to respawn. And that's their whole point. They're pirates. Well, actually, no, they're not even pirates. I'm sorry. Pirates have an actual reason for killing you. They want whatever's on your ship or whatever armor you have. And with the tier 0 item recovery, it's not really worth it for them to take your armor, but they definitely want the cargo that's in your ship if you're running cargo. Because whether it's $100,000 worth of cargo or $1 million worth of cargo, that's money in their pocket that they don't have to go spend the 2 hours mining and then refining and then, all that. And they don't have to go do the missions to pick up the cargo. They can just take it from you right then and there. Griefers don't care. They're not here for your cargo. They're not here for your loot. They just want to kill you. They want to make you have a horrible time in the game to where you just Alt F4 and say, I'm done. I'm not playing anymore. That's it.
I will say that with the mechanics for this game, if fortune is in your favor, the game allows you to fight back with griefers, even if your ship gets taken out. If you manage to survive, the one fight that I think it was you and I got into, I was in my Lancer. Yeah, I was in my Lancer Max. You were in your Hornet. This guy comes in with a Cutly. I can't have words today too.
A Cutty Black.
A Cutty Blue. He came up with a Cutty Blue because he had
Oh, he did have the interdiction.
He had the quantum dampener.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember that red cloud hanging around his ship and just being pissed off that I couldn't get away. And then after he soft deathed my ship, I got out and I just hung around my ship until he came up and I was able to board his ship and shoot back. Unfortunately, I got Star Citizened and my gun wouldn't reload, and he got me before I got him, but it was still an interesting thing that I could, at least fight back for my ship and whatnot. So
yeah, and with engineering coming in and boarding having to be a thing, because soft death is kind of no longer going to be a thing. I would call it soft death, where what we got now is more or less your ship takes a certain amount of damage, it goes critical. There's a little explosion on the outside of the ship to let you know, hey, its components are offline. It's taken such critical damage that it can't fly. Now, with the new systems coming in, we're going to be able to board ships. We're going to be able to repair our components. We're going to be able to, actually go in and loot player ships a little, because you're going to have to. Like, yeah, you can probably still shoot it a ton to get it to hard death, but I think hard death might become a thing of the past by the way that they're talking.
I imagine you'd still be able to blow the ship up completely if you kept on going at it.
Yeah, you might need a bunch of missiles, or you might need, to bring out a reclaimer and just munch it with someone on board. That would be cool, by the way.
Munching somebody.
Munching while someone's still
alive.
on board. Yeah, right. Being munched alive. Warlock, Evil's been hinting that this is a game I would like, and if I killed you, I'm sorry. I'm assuming you're saying if I killed you, do you lose everything and have to start over? No. Not yet. Not yet. So the way CIG implements new features, they go tier 0, tier 1, tier 2. Typically, tier 0 is the rough introduction of it. It's a basis on how it's supposed to work. So they in 4.1 they introduced item recovery. Mainly this is because people who have purchased armors and guns on the pledge store want to be able to wear their armors, keep their armors, and not lose them. Now, I don't have a problem with item recovery if it's just for pledged items. Do I think item recovery should take place on anything you buy in the game? No, because the armors you got on the pledge store, you can't buy in game. You know, should you be able to loot them? Yes, but should the player lose it? Not really, you know, because that's real money spent, you know, and things like that. But you do lose your ship, you do lose your cargo, you know, you do lose whatever's in your backpack when you die. Currently, when you die, you respawn with your armor, your backpack, your guns that are on you, and I think whatever armor, gun, ammunition is actually on the exterior of the armor. I have noticed that. Yeah. So
I died a couple times yesterday. I forget what I was doing. I actually noticed that I ended up respawning after a death, and I still had everything in my backpack. I don't know if that's a side effect of the hotfix that just went through or what, but yeah, normally everything in your backpack's gone, but anything that is attached to you or you're holding, that sticks.
I believe that's kind of a bug that they have kind of that they're kind of working on fixing, because I've noticed it in 4.1 a couple times. My stuff has shown up in my backpack, but then other times it's not there. I think it's just a random glitch.
There's a bunch of things in this this patch that kind of went haywire that they're it seems like they're frantically trying to fix and put back together. Like cargo was all a mess, and there's a few other things.
Yeah. 4.1.1 was kind of, out of all the patches that we've done this year, 4.1.1 is definitely, mainly because of Invictus going on. I think it's, and the free fly, I think it's overstressing the servers a little bit. And certain aspects of the game are kind of glitching out. I mean, but then again, even with 4.1, we had the Hathor events launch, and half the time, you couldn't find a station that was operational. You know, it wasn't until they hotfixed it. It was kind of aggravating.
That was one of the most frustrating parts about MrBKnght is like you're on for two to 4 hours. The first 2 hours are spent server hopping, trying to find these stations, and then fighting off whoever's there. You know, finding a location, somebody comes in, they're doing the same thing. So yeah, but I think that's a good way to segue into 4.1.1 and Invictus and your thoughts so far on how this patch has been going.
Well, 4.1.1, I think if I had to go off of all the patches that have gone through this last year so far, we're only on patch 5, really. And actually, no. I would say 4 patches out of the 11 they're talking about us having. They've gotten better. They have definitely been smoother than past years. You know, you yourself as a new player, you didn't get to see 3.18 and 3.8 and these years before server meshing when stuff was really rough. And the patches were every 4 months. So you'd go 4 months with a broken game. I would say since 4.0 all the way up to 4.1.1 where we currently sit, it's been smooth sailing for the most part. I mean, yeah, we had a little bit of prison issues in 4.0 and elevator issues in 4.0 through up to 4.1. But those seem to have been ironed out, and honestly, I'm happy with where it sits. And as for Invictus, this is my first Invictus back in 4 years, but I followed them on YouTube and all that for the last couple years, and I'll say bringing out the Idris was a bravo on Star Citizen. We have been waiting for that ship for forever. Now we're not going to see as many Polarises out in the verse. We'll actually get some capital on capital ship combat. That's not too equally whatnot ship, because the Polaris is a Corvette class.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely smaller, and it's definitely should be more agile. Invictus, I think it's going good. I mean, the servers are great. They've been more or less stable. I mean, and I'm enjoying the new ships. We got the Asgard, we got the Guardian MX, we've got the Star Lancer TAC, of course the Idris, got the MTC. Am I missing one?
I'm not.
Am I
You're
missing
like
one?
MTC, and I'm like, that's not so.
It's a ground
much of
vehicle, yeah, but
it is, but
there's no really use for it at the moment. I don't know, Knight. I mean, to segue back to you, this is your first Invictus.
Mhm.
This is your first time playing the game pretty much since 4.0. I mean, you've been playing since 4.0. This is your first Invictus. What are your thoughts? What are some things you wish you could have seen? Because we know one thing that's not at Invictus this year that would have been kind of cool.
Oh yeah, the fleet. That would have been. I was reading through some of the patch notes and some of the notes about Invictus. And you had mentioned that all the capital ships and the UEE Navy fleet was going to be flying around, and I'm like, that's going to be really cool to see. I'm a little bit disappointed to see that. I kind of this is kind of off topic, but I really, really miss the price of copper and corundum from 4.02.
Oh God, I forgot about that. The millions.
Yep. The millions and millions. I should have bought a reclaimer with what I had in game with the time.
Oh.
And yeah, I was gonna answer Warlock's question really quick. That's one of my favorite things about this game, at least for now. If it comes later that either you buy a ship in game. If you buy a ship in game, I probably wouldn't have any problem with losing it by getting it exploding or being stolen or whatever. But a pledge ship, I would be furious if we lost it forever. But no, the insurance will give you back to reclaim. But this being going back to the Invictus, I have mixed feelings about what I've experienced inside the game itself. Everything that I've seen at this point has been, it's without using lame terms, it's been cool. Just to put it simply, it's been really cool. The conference hall that they have everything set up in, it's like an actual expo. It's almost like going to TwitchCon or Comic-Con, but it's Invictus. You go to see all the ships that you don't normally get to see.
Yeah.
There's a few that they put in the pledge store that I wish they would have put in the conference, in that hall. And one of my biggest gripes is that there is so much empty space in that hall. They could have put more things in there.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I've gone to expos before. It's wall to wall. Anything and everything about whatever the convention is about is stuffed in there. There's a lot of things, a lot of dead space, but also with free fly and the potential of so many hundreds of players being online at the same time, I can imagine servers being overwhelmed if they did stuff those halls with everything they could. But they did a good job of making it feel like an actual convention. So when you're actually in the game, you go in and you can see the vendor booths. There's hats, there's shirts. You can buy merch from the different manufacturers, and then you go up and you've got some history about different things and different like not booths but just like displays. So you got the ships and you got the weapons and you got the the other parts and components, and you have the blades.
Yeah. Which
And dead space, it's just open space where there's nothing sitting. There's like wasted space is another place, another way to put it. Like you walk into the hall and there's like 300 or 3,000 square feet of nothing but open space that you could have put like a different display in there.
Yeah. So put it to you like this: where it says Citizen Talk in the middle, in between mine and Knight's feeds. If that was nothing there, if this wasn't there, that would be called dead space. Like, like below our cameras, all that blank, that's dead space. You know. And question: which ship do you wish they would have posted in the hall? You mentioned there was a ship that they released that you didn't get to see in the hall. Are you talking about the big bad boy?
There's actually a couple. There's a few that have yet to be announced and or released, or we haven't gotten to those vendors yet. But I was really curious, just because I'm a fan of RSI.
Mm-hmm.
I would have really liked to see the Apollo and the Triage.
The Apollo Triage. They're both the same ship.
Yeah, I would have liked to see one or the other in there. Just to get to tour it. I know it's still in concept, but to have it in the pledge store at the time and not have it on the floor, just kind of like, even if it was in bits and pieces, just to see like what's different about it.
Kind of like the hologram they have of the Kraken. Yeah,
that would have been really cool. Yeah, the Apollo Medevac and then the Apollo Triage. And I would like to see the Triage. I know that one's still in concept because of the drones.
Well, yeah. There's a lot of ships that are still like, for instance, one of the oldest ships in the game, the Reclaimer, that has salvage drones, which drones aren't even a thing yet, was put in prior to salvage being a thing. And that's one thing that kind of ticked a lot of us off that bought the Reclaimer. Me being one of them, was before salvage was a thing. I pretty much had this gigantic ship that was a paperweight.
That's actually something.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I like having it was kind of annoying, and a couple of there's a lot of ships I wish they would have showed off. I mean, even if there's some of the older ones, at least get the outer concept of the ship done, even if you can't go in it. Like, as long as you got the outer design and the outer hull, you know, just the skeleton of it done, I think that would be great to have in Invictus Week. But I get it. Invictus Week is really all about flyable ships and just military grade stuff. So that's really why they only do it. IAE this year should be interesting. But
that's a whole nother topic.
That is a whole nother topic for another episode.
But yeah, I could definitely see like things that I wish they would have done is like I've seen static displays of things. Yeah. Even if you go to HAI, which is Helicopters Association International, sometimes the manufacturer of helicopters like Bell or Augusta Westland, which is actually, I think they partnered with Eurocopter. Some of the different helicopters, they don't have the full thing built, but they'll take the skeleton or just like a display and set it up somewhere. It'd be cool to see that in person. Also, Taz, hello, welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Quickly.
New follower.
What's up, Olam? Warlock asked, how hard is it to enter a clan or a guild? Sometimes I like to play alone, but I also like playing with someone, so it's not boring. It's not that difficult.
I can take that one.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean,
so when I started playing, I like to play on my own just to figure out, you know, what's what. Sometimes I'm done with work and I just want to be calm and quiet and go mine for a couple hours with nobody to bother me. But at the same time, it's always a good experience to have several people to play with you, so you can actually utilize all the functions of a ship.
Yeah, I mean,
Take the
capital
mole-
ships,
Yeah,
moles. Oh, perfect
moles,
example.
polari.
Mole, mining.
Yeah, mining, exactly. To use all the functions of the ship just makes it a lot more fun, because then you have 3 people on the turret, 1 person flying. You get stuff done a lot quicker. I kind of was absorbed into 2 orgs without really trying. First,
True.
it was Evil and Optics clan, which I was happy to jump on board with. And then I don't know how we ended up joining Chrono's clan in McKenna.
Optics.
It was Optics.
So I think the way that happened was Major Wood was originally tried to get me to join another one, and they kind of just disappeared. So then next thing I know, I see Optics in he's in game. He sends me an invite, and I start talking to all these other guys, and it's just like, okay, wait a minute. I have like the most experience out of most people in the group at the time, and besides a few other people, I'm sitting there going like, oh, this will be interesting. You know, some old school players who have been following the game and the progression of the development for the last 15 years. Well, not 15, but please don't hit 15 years. just come on. But yeah, and then I think it was Optics, and then that's when Tungsten came over, and we tried getting another person, SGS, to come over, but he's busy with other games and IRL stuff. Yeah, it's not difficult to get pulled into an org. I mean, I'm a part of. I actually had to go into my account and look at all the org invites I had from 10 years ago. They were still there, still able to be accepted, and I'm just going, okay. Like Test Squadron, Evil Org, you know, all that stuff. I'm just like, okay. But
I think I got an invite from Evil Org too.
Yeah, like they're the largest pirate org out there. But it's relatively easy. Let's see. Gonda's now that the Idris is out. What concept ship? Ironclad.
I was gonna. That's when I said earlier. There was another thing I was gonna say about wanting ships in the convention hall. Is I just want to see the sheer size of the Ironclad.
It's gonna be big,
and
boy.
I wanna drool over it. I actually pulled my Star Lancer into my hangar one day, and with somebody else in my hangar, I was trying to measure out how big the Ironclad was in comparison to the Star Lancer, and I was like, it's gonna need an extra large hangar. The thing is absolute freaking massive at 120 meters by. It's I think 4 meters taller than the Star Lancer, and then it's as wide as the Star Lancer, but you have to go out to the wingtips, not just like the body. You have to go out to the wingtips. It's the same width.
Sorry, which ship? The Ironclad?
The Ironclad, yeah, it's as wide as the Star Lancer, but you have to go out to the wingtips on the Star Lancer. You can't just go on the body itself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's that wide, and then it's like 40 meters longer than the Star Lancer, and I'm like, oh my god, I want. So I'm not holding my breath, but I am really, 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 really hoping that
we see something of it.
With all the stuff and how quiet they've been about why Drake got put in one day and at the tail end of Invictus, I am really hoping that they surprise drop the Ironclad.
So Drake, due to its lore, if you've watched Astro Historian at all, Drake's always been the redheaded stepchild of Invictus. Even
okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, it's always like Drake is always a redheaded stepchild, you know, and things like that. Hold on, Taz. So as many of you guys may know, I have an Idris, but I play with one other org member. Taz, what are you part of MrBKnght?
I could have swore Taz is part of Machina. Is it?
Is it MrBKnght, Machina? I don't fucking know.
So Chrono said that it's pronounced Machina, like you're saying the word Mach.
Mm-hmm.
Like going Mach 1, Mach 2, like that. So it's Machina.
Deus Ex
Oh, yeah,
Machina.
yes.
Okay. To melt a $1,900 ship that's just released, and they are updating a lot on the Idris in the next patch, which is only two to 4 weeks away, because it's going to release in June. I would say wait until Invictus is over. Hold on to it, even if you don't use it. And if you really want to make the decision on whether or not you should melt it, A, wait for Invictus to be over. B, wait for IAE. IAE, we know, or at least they've teased it, the Perseus is going to be in game, which also means the Apollo and the Apollo Triage will probably be close to finish, because the Perseus and the Apollo share a lot of interior parts.
Mm-hmm.
So I would wait.
I agree.
Even though that would be a lot of different ships you can buy with melted money and store credit, I would wait, man.
Even if you're flying on your own, you could definitely use the Idris as a flying fortress or
It's
a
a
base
mobile
if you want
home.
to. Yeah, just like if you're running, we know you can fit a prospector in the ship. Use that as a parking spot for all your bags and drop off your stuff, and then when you're ready to haul everything in, just take it all in at once, and so you don't have to fly back and forth to a refinery every couple minutes.
So the prospector fits, which means the fortune fits.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if the vulture fits.
Vulture would definitely fit. Yeah.
That would be a
good salvage ship.
Dude. You can, and the best part about that,
Iggy Chrono says it does. Okay, so it does fit. Cool. We haven't been able to test all of it. We've been using it as a cargo, more or less a mobile fleet hangar. Yeah, carrier, because we know, because we did it on day one, we can fit at least 8 to 9 full-size fighters. I got to specify. Full-size fighters in the hangar. Now, I will say this. I was a little upset that the Hornet has such a hard time getting in that thing, considering the Hornet was built to be launched from the Idris, I believe, or at least the Bengal carrier. So the fact that it doesn't fit in another ship with a hangar easily, it's the freaking tail wing.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
The tail wing is too angled.
I think you just need to work on your pilot skills.
I can land it no problem, but it's everyone else that tries landing it, because the other night when we were doing the org thing, they were trying to do some combat maneuvers, so we weren't stopping, and a guy was trying to land, and needless to say, he got the nose down into the ramp and then the tail up, so he was just and then boom.
We were in a tough spot the other night, and I was trying to leave with my Gladius, and as I was leaving with the Gladius, somebody, I forget who was flying the Idris, but somebody moved the ship right as I started moving, and boom.
Yeah, you can't do that. They have to keep that thing at least straight line for a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
Iggy, what is up, man? I'm guessing that's Chrono based on the name.
Mm-hmm. All right, so on our agenda, Invictus thoughts, ships we'd like to see, and use case scenario. I'm holding out for the Ironclad. I really hope. Although I will be getting a F8C on Friday if it's there.
Somebody actually just posted. Where was this?
I think it was in general chat in Machina.
Was it in general chat in Machina?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'd like to know where you found that, on what ships. But
It's been posted on RSI a couple times. It's in one of the buried like web pages. You got to click on. Oh, click this link. Click that link. Click that link.
yeah, they like to hide stuff. But yeah, I mean, if the F8C is there, I'm definitely I don't remember which ship. Oh, I'm definitely melting the Corsair. As much as I love the Corsair due to the look and the cargo grids on it have been messed up. Like it doesn't utilize all the cargo space, which kind of pisses me off a little bit. But also the way it's designed, it's a good looking ship. But the wings, man. I mean, just make it an X-wing at the damn point. Why with the 3 wings?
I'd actually. Is there any lore or reason as to why the ship was designed that way, with 3 wings being the way it is?
Not yet. No one's done. I don't think he's done any lore. Astro Historian has done any lore on the Corsair yet.
It's just just going based off common sense. When you look at most of these ships, like the Idris was designed to have a hangar through it for this purpose, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You're like, why was the Corsair designed to have 3 wings where it's complicated to fly into some situations? And like, is one wing, does it have is one wing radar, one wing whatever?
Yeah, so we've talked about Con-42 a little bit. Guys, if you haven't, go watch that video. They go in through a lot of teasing June's patch and a lot of the stuff that's coming out. If we went over every tidbit that they teased in there, this would be like a 3-hour podcast. But one of the things that is coming in the beginning of June, and just a little bit of a teaser, is engineering. Engineering is something I have been waiting for because I want to be able to vent the ship and things like that. Because I want to be in combat. I want the ship to go down. I want everything to be on fire, to actually have to firefight, to have to repair components, to get things operational again. Like, that kind of gameplay just gives Star Citizen so much more depth. And engineering is just, it's what we've been waiting for. What about you? What are your thoughts on engineering?
The concept of engineering is exciting. The idea of having the ability to fix components, like if you're doing bounties or whatever it is. Me, I prefer the PvE aspect of Star Citizen, not necessarily the PvP, unless I'm doing Org-Knight and running air defense and everything. The idea of being able to fix components and things like that on the fly without having to fly all the way back to a space station or a planet I like the idea. And the thought of having to put out fires and things, that's really cool. The thing that I'm apprehensive of is making the game complicated to the point where you can't fly solo, where if you're soft dead, you have to get out and you have to fix everything on your own. By the time you fix it, like, you're either dead or whatever. I'm interested to see it, but I don't want to get too complicated to the point where you can't enjoy the game being a solo player. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and it's definitely one of those things. It's like, you're updating the armor values on the doors of the Idris and the Polaris, on the hangar doors and whatnot, to make them harder to get into, which means you're going to have to breach ships. You're going to have to fight your way to get into another player's ship once you've soft-deathed it. And having the ability to go, like, for instance, me and you were in your Connie or whatever multi-cruise ship, right? And we're on our way back from picking up a refinery order of Quantanium. We all know Quantanium is big money and people are going to want it, and that's just one of those things that's it's a hot commodity.
And it's apparently not in any of the bounty missions right now.
Yeah, but something's broken there. But we get attacked. The Connie goes soft death. Me and you, obviously, we hop out of the seats. We go to the armory, grab our guns, and now we have to either protect one of us as we go and repair the components. Pretty much, I think the hot component everyone's going to run to get fixed first is the power plant.
Mm-hmm.
You get the power plant fixed and the quantum drive, and probably shields too, but preferably power plant, shields, then quantum drive. Get yourself moving, get yourself out of there while you're trying to defend a boarding action. That is gameplay that I'm excited for and that I want to see in this game, especially when we're going to start going up against Polarises and Idrises that are completely loaded.
New follower.
Machina Chrono. But we're going to be going up against these capital-sized ships now, and with the ability to soft death them, it's one of those words are hard. Words are not hard. Words am hard. But like when we go on Org Night, like we're going down, we're mining at the Hathor event, we're getting all these materials that are worth quite a lot to not go to Wikello, but you can get other shit with Wikello for the Karenite.
Mm-hmm.
We know Karenite sells pretty damn high to the general public. It's what, 140 something thousand per SCU? No, it's like 44 million per SCU, I think. At least that's what it was when they first introduced it.
I've never seen it on UEX, but that was the rumor. It was like 44 million per SCU, which is insane.
But like, for instance, we're in the Idris, it gets knocked out. We then have to rely on fighter support to keep us alive. And then we got to stop a boarding party while repairing the components. That's gameplay. That's content from a content creator standpoint. That's what people are going to want to see. That kind of gameplay is also going to bring in new players.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to bring a whole new meaning to the multi-role, multi-crew aspect of Star Citizen. So I'm excited for engineering, even though we're just getting the first iteration of it. So fires and whatever, probably components just shutting down. Because they did say that even though, now this is old, this is from Inside Star Citizen last year, they did state that when you repair a component, it's not going to be 100%. It's going to be degraded now. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for engineering. Because just give me all the goodies.
I haven't seen. I'm still very, very new in comparison to the game, so I haven't seen as much of the engineering aspect of it or what's been proposed. So I don't really have too much else to put into it. But I am excited to see just the idea of new gameplay and being able to do different things. It's more time in the game without getting bored.
Yeah.
So
fighter cover gets old after a little bit.
Yeah, and to go off of that, you said with one of our talking points in the agenda is Idris being released and running missions and Org Nights with Polaris and the Idris. What are the thoughts on that?
So Org Nights are a lot of fun. We haven't really done much with the release of the Idris. It's only been out one weekend, but I will say this: with the Idris finally being released, the capability of it being a mobile hangar, plenty of med beds, for people that go down. So, and then also having the Polaris, which has med beds and its own single hangar, which you can fit 2 ships in there. I'm excited to see where Org Night evolves to. Because we know in the next patch, we're going to have new things in Pyro and in Stanton. It sounds like we might have weather.
Okay.
And now we're going to have to pick and choose. Do we do Org Night in Pyro? Do we do Org Night in Stanton? Do we do both? And we'll have to... we're going to have to pick and choose... what ships we bring out, which it's a lot of fun, having these capital class ships that can go toe to toe with one another, that if manned properly and armed properly will give other fighters a run for their money. So I'm excited to see where having Idrises and having Polarises or Polari, I don't know what the what the term for that would be, but I'm excited to see where that takes Org-Knight. What can we do with all these ships? Because the Polaris holds a lot of cargo, and when they fix the cargo grids on the Idris, that's going to hold a lot of cargo too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thoughts. What are yours?
I think CIG threw quite a few things at us all at once, and when you're playing on these big capital ships with large groups, I think what was expected isn't what was necessarily what came to fruition. Also, hi Chevy, and glad Evil says gamer's name right. If I had some pointers for just saying our last Org-Knight, where we spent 2 hours fighting against this I assume it's another org, another group that was just trying to get back to the Hathor mining site that we were at. We had 2 Idrises out there, and they both got taken down. I think based on that experience, you're going to need to plan out a lot further in advance on what you're going to fly out and the responsibilities, who's doing what, and making sure that the standby Idris isn't too far away, and actually setting up the fleet the way that an actual naval fleet would fly out. The Idris being the capital ship to be there for support, intimidation, backup, whatever it is, that's there. But you also need your fighters on standby in the hangar, and if there's any sign of any sign of trouble, you launch them right away. Making sure that the fighters that are taking off aren't the pilots that are taking the fighters, they're not being taken away from the turrets. You have turret gunners in there at all times.
Yeah.
On top of that, you have the first squadron that supports the Idris, whether that's a couple of Connies or retaliators or whatever it is, something that's a little bit more mobile, but something that's not going to get shot down by the PDCs, because it's slightly bigger at the moment until they get that problem fixed. And then
bug.
Beyond, it is a bug. Beyond that, we have another tier of fighters, which are like the light fighters. You got Gladiuses and Hornets and everything. So you've got 3 tiers of defense. You've got the first line defense, which are the small fighters, and then you've got the medium ones, which are the Connies and the Retaliators, and then you've got the Idris as your main tank. And then if need be, you can throw in another capital ship like the Polaris to be on standby, or just that's your torpedo boat for disabling. You could knock out another Polaris, or you knock out another Idris. But when I said earlier that CIG threw a curveball at us, is they also threw in bombs, and those bombs were a whole nother element that really threw us for a loop, because we were just getting bombed by Gladiuses most of the time, and we needed to take them out. But the problem that we had was we weren't prepared with fighters. We just had the 2 Idrises, and we were relying on the turrets and the Idris to just wipe these guys out. But the turrets, in reality, they're not that quick. So we needed that fighter support there.
Thank God that's getting updated. The turret speeds are being updated, and the capacity of how many rounds they can fire is going to be getting updated. I would say the most aggravating part of Org-Knight, the last one we did, was we got to Hathor.
Yes.
And nothing was going on. And sadly, we're going to run into this, as the org grows and more people want to do more things in the game. we're going to run into the problem where there's going to be some standby time.
Oh,
you know, we're waiting for other players. You know, now when Invictus is over, there's going to be a lot more of the Hathor events going on. We're going to have these other locations to go to in Pyro and Stanton, which is going to open up a lot more combat locations for these fleets. But when we have 3 Idrises, 2 of which run off and go do their own thing, and then you guys call for support because now you're getting hammered by Gladiuses that are bombing you and things like that. Now we got to turn around. We're anywhere from 30 to 60 GM out. You know, so it's going to take time to get the fighters back, because if the fighters aren't landed, you know, which I wasn't. I was out in my fighter protecting our Idris, taking down other fighters. So I quickly turned around, quantumed out of there, and they're like, hey, are you going to come land? I'm like, no, I got a quantum drive. The only ship that had to land was our Fury. And I'm like, all right, get them loaded, get back. So by the time I got back, I was able to get back, splash down 1 or 2 fighters, and then I got taken out. Well, my respawn was the Idris. So I couldn't get back to a fighter, which that was my mistake, setting the respawn as the Idris. But yeah, back to what you were saying is if we're going to run these Orgnites and these massive fleets, we need to have a Polaris, which honestly, you can fit quite a bit of Furies in that. So if we got a lot of players with snub-nosed Furies, load them in the Polaris, use that for all the tiny snub noses, and stick the light and medium fighters. And of course, you know, the F8C can fit in the Idris, no problem. So keep the Idris for the light, medium, and heavy fighters. And then obviously, we don't make the mistake of having our fighters set their respawn to the ship. Because
the main ones, no. Like the pilots that are on the Idris, they can set them there, because it would be, I suppose you could have like a next level or next tier of like protection, where if you have people that have multiple fighters, like me, I've got a Gladius and I've got a Hornet.
Yeah.
What if I put my Gladius on the Idris and then I fly out with my Hornet and I get shot down, but I set my spawn point to the Idris? So I get shot down, but then I can jump in my Hornet as standby and I'm right there ready to go.
Yeah.
But after that point, if I get shot down in both of my fighters, then at that point I would have to go up to the med bay and switch it back to wherever my home base would be. I've got mine set to Lorville right now. So
yeah, same. I mean, if the Idris hangar was bigger, I could see that being viable, depending on how many fighters you actually cram into the damn thing. So let's say we have 8, right? You got your first 2, you know, or your first 4. So your first fighter group goes out the second you get there. They're your defense. They're just running the perimeter. So your first 4 go out. Now you got 4 in standby. Those 4 move up to the front of the hangar and then park it. Engines going, whatnot, ready to go. Close the hangar doors. Do whatever you have to do. That makes sense. But like the way the game currently is if you have 2 fighters in that hangar, you take your first one out. Well, now you got a fighter that your pit crew or your pit boss has got to go down, move to its forward position, launch position, so it can do that. I think it's more logistics than we really need at the moment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a lot of different ways of doing this. Definitely having a Polaris, because that's a Corvette. The Idris is a just capital size ship. I forgot what they consider it. But yeah, and then you would have the the other ships, the Retaliators, your light bombers, so your A1s, obviously, and your Connies, which Connies are really good for dealing with fighters. If they got the proper shields, the proper layout, and they also have the proper support, they can do pretty good. Which is where you want to keep you want to keep the weaker ships close to the capital ships, to utilize the PDCs on the capital ships to help deal with the fighters. And you also have the turret gunners on these capital ships helping you take down fighters. So you have the protection of your capital ships. We don't fly out 10 kilometers away chasing down a fighter. Once they start leaving, leave them alone.
That was one of my biggest frustrations from trying to protect. I came back in my Connie, and I was doing an orbit around one of the Polarises that were there, and the PDCs weren't shooting at me. So I was using the Polaris as a shield in essence. Yeah. And any time that I got close to the Polaris, any ship that was bothering me that I couldn't just pick off because it was just moving faster, it would bug off because it would not get close to the Polaris. And I was like, we need to pull these guys closer to the capital ships so that we can actually support one another properly. And they're just like, one guy over here, one guy over there, one over there. But I get it. It's the chaos of the battle, and communication is really tricky when everybody's calling out targets everywhere. So
yeah. Well, and that's one of the things, being a newer organization and having these newer game updates, these new ships, we don't know how to use them properly. As Chevy said, PDCs can only shoot smaller craft, and the Polaris requires less crew. 100% correct. Realistically, you need 4 people on a Polaris. 2 top gunners, your pilot, and someone in the torpedo bay. So you really only need 4 people on the Polaris at any given minute. Sadly, the Idris, you need, if you're going to utilize all the gun turrets, you need a minimum of 14. You got to have someone down in the hangar to open and close the hangar doors. You got to have your pilot, who's got the main gun or the main torpedoes or whatever weapon is on your Idris. And then, of course, you got your turrets. So you need 14 at a minimum to crew a Idris efficiently. I'm not going to say perfectly, but efficiently. I say 14 at a bare minimum. Now, if you're not going to worry about the belly guns, okay, we're up to, let's say, 8. Half of it. 7 to 8. Yeah, and well, yes, and as Chevy just pointed out, and when engineering coming in, you're gonna need to have your damage control guys ready to go. You don't leave your post. You don't, so they can't be turret gunners that are gonna hop out and go help do freaking damage con. We're gonna need at least probably 3 people on damage con. 1 guy in engineering, 2 more on the sides of the ship. That way they can focus on anything else, putting fires out.
Yeah.
So the amount of gameplay and whatnot that comes into these new updates like engineering and what's going to be able to do big in Org-Night is things. We got a lot ahead of us. And I think with our org, we definitely need to run some Arena Commander, which is always more or less stable. Just do free fly, 2 ships, two groups of fighters, fully crewed Idrises. You kind of build the scenario that we want to practice. Whether it's combat landings, which there's going to be a lot of ships blowing up on combat landings. I can tell you that right now. I'm going to be one of them. Knight's going to be one of them.
No, I never blow up.
Chevy's going to be one of them. Chrono is definitely going to be one of them.
Dude, I was flying. Who the heck was I flying back? I was flying. I was playing with a gamer, or not a gamer, a viewer the other night. I think it was, it might have been Lazy. flying back, trying to take them back to Grimhex, and I'm trying to pull this drift around Grimhex between some asteroids.
That's dangerous.
And yeah, it is. It's extremely dangerous. And I tried maneuvering, and I swear that I cleared this asteroid, but I pulled an evil and slid right into the asteroid and exploded.
Is that what we're calling it now? I pulled an evil?
Pulled an evil Knievel. Slid right
All
into the
because
asteroid.
I did
Boom.
it one time. One time in a firefight, uncoupled.
It's the only reason why it's so freaking funny is because you're like, he got me. And then in the chat, he's like,
Good fight. If it
Good
wasn't
fight.
for the asteroid.
yeah, and they said the asteroid, and it was just boom.
Because I was
And you're
giving that Connie a run for his freaking money.
Yeah, you were. And in your defense, I mean, when you're flying around the asteroids of Yella, they are somewhat unpredictable when you're flying around. I mean, they're constantly you're moving from one section to another, and it's not the same environment all the time, so you can't always see what you're drifting into. So,
Toby eye tracker, I need it.
I know, right?
I mean, I have an extra webcam that kind of helps, but it's not as cut and dry as a Toby eye tracker would be.
Yeah.
Like Chrono said, yeah, no, go ahead with that one.
I was gonna say a lot of moving parts. PDC shooting your own team. Idris being heavily bugged. Fighters are bombers now. It's easy to strategize and love doing so. It's just a lot of moving parts, and we all learn from current game experiences. Exactly, yeah. And that's pretty much everything that like I came to the conclusion of when I was mentioning the tactics that I would change earlier. Is excuse
They're
me.
evil.
That's what I learned.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? So okay, that's an update I definitely want to touch on because you have a Gladius, I have a Hornet, I have the Saber, and I'm debating picking up another Gladius at some point, maybe. But a lot of people are complaining about fighters being able to have bombs now. And I can tell that the people complaining don't know a lot about military history, and they just don't understand why having a multi-role fighter is a good thing. But I will say this, and I want your opinion on it. So I understand we're giving the Gladiuses and other fighters the ability to load smaller bombs, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, on them is a good thing. And from a CIG standpoint, it saves them from doing a few things. They don't have to create a new ship. So they don't have to waste time and assets and resources on designing, concepting, building it, going through all the progression that it takes for us to get a ship. So they don't have to do that by putting it on bomb racks. It also opens up a lot more different aspects of gameplay. Like Warlock said, multi-role is the best thing. And that is true. Because now, take it from the guy that has an A1 bomber. It's painful to figure out how to... The bomb sight really sucks on the A1. I think the UI team needs to kind of work on that. But you can do some bombing runs on it. I mean, Knight has seen me come in hot and drop bombs on the PAFs at Hathor, and I can only imagine what that looks like. Yeah, almost blowing him up. But I can imagine what that looks like, from a live stream or another player, because you just hear this freaking... I mean, the engines on the A1 sound cool, but you just hear this A1 coming in, and then, boom, you see this little white dot. What is that? Oh, shit, it's a mini nuke. But having the fighters, which are quicker, more agile, and, yeah, the A1's easy to take down, it's just it's great to have that ability. It's great to have smaller ships able to be multi-role bombers / fighters. Come in, drop your bombs, go back to air defense. Why not have that?
Every time I pull up my my Gladius when I'm walking past it, I'm like, this resembles the FA-18 Super Hornet so much. And you know, they're not big bombs, but they put bombs on there, and they put anti-ship missiles on there, and I totally get it. I used to play one of my favorite games of all time is Ace Combat.
Yeah.
I love playing that game. That's partially where I get my flying skills from, although it's not the same game, but it's got the same premise.
I would love to have as many missiles as you get in Ace Combat.
Oh God, yeah.
128 missiles.
Yeah.
Or some stupid crazy number, depending on which ones you put on.
The Nosferatu has the ATOMs. Yeah, it's 144 missiles, and it launches like 12 at a time.
I know. I can't wait for the day, like the Connie, perfect ship, perfect example. It's a missile boat. It's a gunboat. Give us the ability to launch more than 4 missiles at a time. Can I launch 10 at a time? Please, CIG. What do we got? Yeah, the Andromeda.
The change also allows newer player with a light fire not to have to spend more money on a dedicated bomber to experience that gameplay. $20 gets you there.
Exactly.
Yep, it makes sense. From the opposition standpoint, it's a pain in the ass because now you've got this little bee that's buzzing around you, like freaking dropping bombs on you, but it just makes you think harder. It adds another challenge to the game, and you have to plan for it. You have to think ahead. You strategize. It makes the game better.
Yeah, and the fact that it's not a shit ton of bombs, like, okay, give us a bunch of size 1 bombs to put on a Gladius. Okay, now you can drop 6 bombs versus 3. Do I agree with the size of the bombs? Maybe drop them down to size 2s. That way they're not, obliterating a Idris.
Yeah.
But, okay, if we leave it as it sits, 2? I haven't looked at it. Is it 2 size 3 bombs?
It's 2 size 3s, yeah.
Okay, so you get 2 bombs.
Unless you take all the missiles off. I think you can take all the missiles off and add 4 missile racks for 1 or 4 bomb racks for 1 bomb each.
Holy crap.
So if you completely go bomber, I think you can hold 4 bombs.
Can ships be upgraded? Yes. Ships can be upgraded. You can upgrade power plants, weapons, shields, quantum drives. Pretty much any component in the ship can be upgraded, except for the hulls. At the moment, there is a thing coming that is quality, so you will have different quality level of ships. So I'm assuming that's going to be armor rating and whatnot. But yeah, pretty much everything on your ship can be upgraded. Anything offensive and that is required for you to fly the ship can be upgraded. 4 size 3s. Okay, so yeah, you get 4 size 3s on a Gladius, and I don't know if you can put them on the Hornet or the Saber, for instance, because the Saber is a stealth ship. That would be cool to make that a stealth bomber. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I want to see them come out with in the next year, 2 years. I mean, heck, we got Squadron 42 supposedly launching in next year. I do love that Jared called out Rockstar in Con 42. That was kind of nice.
I don't think he didn't really call them out, but he definitely used them as an example of how game development works, and it does make a lot of sense.
It does. They've been at it for a very long time.
Yeah. Speaking of the future, I know next episode is going to be 4.2 and what to expect with that update and everything, but some of the teasers that came out with Con 42 about 4.2 and the June patch. The one thing that I'm really, really excited for and I'm really hoping is true and they don't just like dangle that piece of meat in front of us is the ground ship elevators.
Ooh.
ground vehicle elevators.
Yes.
That was, and then I remember you telling me about that little thing that he did, and how he stood up and he's like, the first thing that's going to come out of that is going to be the
Yeah.
the combat Atlas. That'll be interesting. But
I really hope they don't lock that behind Wickhello. I mean,
I don't see why they would.
I do, because Wickhello's he's the God, what's the word I'm thinking of?
He's got it.
He's
but
the
he had to get it from somewhere.
Shit, they explained it. He's the fabricator. You know,
Okay.
so you bring him so like all these ships you can get from Wickhello, they're different than what you can get anywhere else in the verse. Better components, better weapons, paints, whatnot. Yes, and I'm sure it's going to be on the Play Store, because I'm surprised they didn't throw it into Invictus. You guys missed your chance to make, you know, let's see,
Even
the
more
regular
money.
Atlas is $40. How much is the Geo? Geo's
I think it was
45.
45.
Yeah, so the regular Atlas is $40. The Geo's $45. I would say $60 maybe for the offensive Atlas. 75 would be on the top end. Like I'm talking, that would be like the most I could see them going for.
I would probably put it at like maybe 60-ish.
So 55, 60.
Somewhere around there, just because I mean you can't put more than 2 guns on it.
And they're size ones.
I mean, well, you could. I mean, you could mount you could have shoulder mounted, and you could have like an arm mounted guns.
Did they show shoulder mounted?
I don't know. I'm just as soon as I thought about the Atlas, I immediately thought Iron Man. I'm like, okay, where can I mount weapons and
Missile
like,
launchers that come out of a backpack?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, you could do that. There aren't any shields, so it's just the armor that's on
that little armor plating, which leads up to another point that they brought up in Con-42.
like words.
Yes, words. It's getting a little late, but I still got time. Bullet penetration.
Yeah.
Becoming a thing. When the armor system coming out. I mean, there is. That is for the next episode. We're going to make you wait on that one. Even though you guys can all go out and find all this information, and we're just going to talk about it after the fact and whether or not we actually get to test it. But
I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed for the Ironclad for the next couple of days. I'm just fingers crossed. It's okay. I'll be happy with my 2 ships. I'll be happy with my Star Lancer and my TAC and my Lightning.
If they were to do, hold on, I gotta grab something. If they were to do an Ironclad tease, or I'm sure it's going to end up on the store when Drake shows up. If it doesn't, if it doesn't, I'm going to be a little on the aggravated side with CIG on that aspect. But if I had to guess, I don't know if you guys can hear my fan hitting it. The Ironclad, I want. We all want it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Especially those of us that run cargo, we want to be able to better defend that cargo, especially when it's a 120 SCUs of Quantanium.
Yeah, if they ever bring that back. Oh, sorry. I was just thinking general. Like I am looking forward to the day when I get done with a week's worth of mining missions and I've got all these refinery orders and I just load everything up into the Ironclad and I've got 1,500 SCUs of Quantanium, Terranite, and Bexilite and heading off to go sell that. I tell
you what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to them fixing when they release an update that you don't lose your refinery orders, because that'll be big.
Yep.
Whatever you have stored in your hangar, as long as it's your home hangar, doesn't get wiped. Ships stay as they're configured, like that. When they finally bring that, I'm gonna be very, very, very excited. But like, just the Ironclad has got so many use case scenarios. It's not just for cargo, because you know damn well we're gonna fit as many fighters as we can in that fucking cargo hold that we can. We're gonna turn that thing into another carrier.
I can't wait to see, like, we drop the front door open and just spitting out fighters coming out the front.
Or you just open the roof to it and it's just all vertical takeoff on it. Oh my god! Like there's so many use case scenarios for Org-Knight, for just having fun. That is gonna be one of those things. Like Warlock, you have got to get Star Citizen. I'm telling you. So Warlock is a buddy of mine. I've known him for 10 plus years now. Met him online. Met him in World of Warships. But good friend. And I've been trying to get more people into Star Citizen, and it's just some people, they look at all the negativity out of Star Citizen, and that kind of is going to go into our next thing. Okay, hold on. Gonda wants to know, what's your favorite mission type you want to be expanded? Mining?
I was thinking about that while you were talking about it.
Mining a little bit. I would like to actually be able, instead of going to individual rocks, be able to find veins to where we scan and we find a massive vein of, like, let's say Terranite, and we're able to sit there, because they do show it on the prospector, the laser going straight down and mining into the planet surface, mining a vein. So I want to see mining get an expansion, and obviously exploration. Exploration would be cool to be able to go into Pyro and find stuff that is hidden, because you need a certain type of scanner, you need a certain type of exploration ship, things like that. I would definitely...
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Just because I see all these exploration ships, and I'm like, I don't really want to go fly out someplace just to search for something and then go back to get a different ship to do what I'm like. What's the point of an exploration ship right now?
Well, and that goes back to what they mentioned in Con-42, is had they known what they know now, they wouldn't have built any of the exploration ships, because there is no exploration. Yes, data running, which is coming. One of the things is a data center in 4.2. So I think data running is becoming a thing, but I would say mining, exploration, and give us missions that utilize capital ships.
Yeah.
Give us multi-crew missions. Like, hey, you need to go to this bunker, take out its defenses. And those defenses are going to be... okay, think about it like this. Think about a bounty mission, right? You got to go down, and you actually have to go into the bunker. But before you can go into the bunker, you have to get there. You have to take out their fighter support. Then you have to get down to the ground, take out whether it's AA systems, tanks, turrets, just to get to the bunker. And then from that point, now you have to breach the bunker. Now that ties into your first-person aspect of the game. That's a kind of mission I think would be fun, because it's not one that, oh, hey, I'm going to be done in 5 minutes with a bounty mission. Because we all know you take a Polaris out, you can go from apprentice to journeyman relatively quick, because we all figured out that one. But something like that would be cool.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. What about you? What kind of mission types do you want to see updated?
I agree with the mining. I don't know if the vein thing is a really cool idea. I wish they'd have a better way of servicing your mining ship when you're going to the refinery. I don't get why you have to go all the way to the refinery when you could just put another terminal somewhere in the hangar and be like, hey, I've got a ship here. I need these services. Let me, send this down and then empty out my ship. Like have a refining thing there. That's not really expanding on the actual mission aspect of it, though.
Well, that is kind of a thing that's coming in.
Yeah, somebody had mentioned also that I think it was you, eventually running passenger missions, taking people from one end to the other. I know it's kind of like running cargo, but I'd like to see a use for all the luxury ships that we have out there. I do the cargo hauling. I really, really hope they fix the Hull C missions. I actually really enjoy those. I've done several of them. It's just I'm kind of sick of hauling the correct amount of cargo to the correct location, and then as it pulls everything off, the numbers are off, and you don't get paid for the full thing. So
yeah, I'm glad there's a lot of fixes coming, and I will say out of a year of bug fixing and stability and playability, they're on the right track.
The content and everything is definitely being pushed out in the right direction, and from just playing it for the 5 months that I've been here, I've seen leaps and bounds ahead of the last patches. I've been at like 4.1.1 as soon as it went live. I jumped into some of the servers and they were running really, really smooth. Granted, there were still the bugs, but like it's still running really, really smooth with fewer server errors and things like that. So I'm excited with the direction they're going. Hopefully, the stability issues continue to improve, and that's definitely something that they've mentioned at Con-42 as well, is that they're going to start shifting people off those priority tasks and working on stability and gameplay, focusing on those elements so that the game is actually enjoyable.
Yeah, and I mean that's what's going to be nice, and if they can actually get everything done this year that they want to do, I think we have an amazing year for Star Citizen ahead of us. And just there's so much out there that they're going to be bringing to the game.
Yeah, I completely forgot my notes here, but as I was going through Con-42, what's the main guy's name? Jared. He mentioned that they used to do like quarterly patches, and now they're doing 11 patches this year, which is insane.
Yeah, they used to be every 4 months or every 3 to 4 months, and now they're monthly, pretty much. Which, if they can keep up with the monthly patches even after this year, it's going to be great for this game.
I would actually prefer that they finish the game, and then start with the monthly patches, because the monthly patch thing, that's kind of what like games like Fortnite and Call of Duty do now. They want to keep people engaged in like interacting with the game. So what do? They have seasons. They have battle passes. Now we don't need battle passes in Star Citizen.
Oh God,
we don't need seasons. The new gameplay I'd like to see added on top of the actual game. So we need the foundation first before we start doing these monthly, changes and everything. Instead of focusing on the next biggest thing, we need to get the game done. That was what I had taken away from Con-42 as one of the things that I didn't like. They were talking about constantly hiring people with new ideas, new things they can bring to the game. Like, that's great and all. Let's finish it first, and then we can start rolling out the content. And I mean, that's not to say that you have to stop working on new gameplay ideas, new features, new ways. But fundamentally, if you don't, and this is where it kind of comes into the forever alpha mentality, is if you don't finish the game and you're just continuously looking for new ideas, you're always going to be an alpha, because you're not finishing the fundamental, the foundation first. So I get where they're coming from with the new ideas and everything, but like finish it, release it, and then give us the content to keep us captivated.
Well, and that's one of the things that they mentioned in Con-42, and that is one of the things that's kind of working its way over. Hold on, I gotta fix that. Is that in with Squadron 42 being finished up, and he mentioned a few times in Con-42 that Squadron 42 is finishing up, which, bite your tongue, stick your foot in mouth, insert foot here, is one of those situations where it's like, you might have bit off a little more than you could chew. But then again, Chris Roberts is always, that's why you see Jared looking at his phone, because he's getting messages from Chris going, shouldn't have said that, or mention this, just give him a crumb. And it's one of those things that, it's with Squadron 42 finishing up and features and ships that are trickling its way down like Maelstrom. That's going to be a big one because that's going to tie into engineering, ship armor, bullet penetration, so on and so forth. That would be an entire podcast just on its own, is Maelstrom. But with Squadron 42 due to release sometime in 2026, I'm thinking around CitizenCon, because that's just what makes sense. There are a lot of stuff we're seeing come into the game right now that we were not expecting. And it's exciting stuff. And that's one of the things that I'm excited for with how these patches have gone in 2025. We're going to segue into that one. Excuse me. The patches have been going smoothly. Not perfect, but smoothly compared to recent years. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, compared to previous years, 2025 so far has been smooth sailing. Fingers crossed that it stays that way.
Yes.
But with the content, with the ships, with everything coming and everything being updated, I am happy with the current status and state of what we have in the verse for Star Citizen. And you being a newer player, 6 months in, I mean, were you expecting it to be this smooth sailing? I mean, okay, let me ask you this. How much research did you do for Star Citizen prior to buying a game pack and downloading the game?
To be honest, I didn't look into any lore. I didn't look into the company a ton. I did peruse the website and do my research a little bit just to make sure I wasn't being scammed into a game that is, you get the demo version, you get to play 3 missions and that's it. I've had a couple of cheap versions of games like that come through Steam before, and I'm like, where's the rest of the game? Like, oh, you got to pay, this to access this. What originally got me into it was watching other streamers play it, mainly the Badger who got me into the game. I was watching him and his dad play, and just the amount of things that he could do. And I was seeing the bugs. I'm like, yeah, that could be frustrating, but the fact that you can go from the space station to your ship to space to another planet seamlessly without having to do like load screens or please wait or buffering or loading or anything was just like, I'd never seen that before. So after watching a few streams and like taking a look at all the ships, and I was looking at all the different ships that you could fly, I forget which one caught my eye. I don't know if it was a fighter or one of the cargo things, but I ended up jumping in with the Cuddy Black, and it was on sale. It was 112 down from 125. I was like, I got that, and I started exploring and doing all the things that I could do. It was like the interaction that you have with this game. It's, if you've ever seen the movie or read the book Ready Player One, this is the closest thing that I've ever experienced that's like close to the Oasis. I'm like, obviously it's got years to go in development to get to the point of in which the Oasis in that book actually exists, but still it's like almost bringing it to fruition.
Yeah. I never thought about that comparison. I never thought about that comparison, but yeah, and the fact you can play this in VR.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't customize the characters to the degree you can in Ready Player One, but you can still customize your character. You can customize your armor. You're a humanoid, and there's other species in the game. Obviously, Wicklow, he's an alien species. Chevy, thank you for the follow.
Yeah, not yet. I mean, the character customization. So they mentioned a few more hairstyles are coming and things like that. So I mean, the character customization, I think it'll get there. I think you'll be able to make your character an alien species, like a Banu or something like that soon. Like Chevy said, Starfield. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. By the way, guys, in the description of the channel, you will see mine and Knight's Twitch channels actually linked there. Make sure you go and hit those as well, because this will be used on we haven't decided what we're doing yet with the Citizen Talk. We were seeing how tonight goes, and we'll see how the next couple streams go. But we're thinking of maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. We'll figure it out. The more we get down there, as we don't want to cut into our actual live stream times.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm already an hour late for my actual live stream, so we're gonna have to wrap up soon. But yeah, no, I think once a week will be a good pace, like a weekly episode. That'll be fantastic, especially our own experiences playing solo and in orgs. We'll have our own stories to talk about. We'll have time to research everything that we want to research for what the new patches are. And
because Monday is when they put out the week in review, I think. Or whatever. It's the roadmap roundup, I think, is they put that out today, and I'm gonna have to go over that, and we'll figure out what we'll do for our next couple whatnot. But yeah,
what do you think? Sorry, I was just reading Gonda's question. What do you think of contested zones and the implementation of them? I've only been to one contested zone, and I didn't even realize what it was until I accidentally ran into it in Pyro. I thought it was like I almost felt like I was playing a completely different game when I went into a contested zone, because they had some pretty scary elements into it. It went from like calm and chill, because I was just doing bounties and pyro to rack up money before the 4.1 was pushed through, just in case I had to buy all my components back. And I was like, I'd heard about CZs, and I was gonna ask the guys in Machina, like, what are they? But I didn't want to feel like the complete noob. And I was in a station pyro, and I happened to come across the sign that said contested this way or whatever it was, and I went over there. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So I kept on going and going, and I happened to be on a low pop server that day, so I was like, yeah, let's go in here, let's see. There's nothing, I don't have anything valuable on me, so I started walking around, and I'm hearing the noise of some kind of creature. Like it was like I was in a haunted house in a horror game.
Oh, the Kobe.
And I ended up finding it, and I was like, okay, that's not as scary as I thought it was, but like the entire vibe, the dark vibes, and like the thought of somebody sitting around the corner just shooting me, I'm like, game over. That was a lot of fun. The last thing I ran into before I left the contested zone, involuntarily, by the way, was I was heading back to the entrance where I was going to leave, and there was somebody coming. So I was like, okay, I'm either going to run right into them and I'm going to die, or I'm going to, fight back. And it was a duo. There's two people coming down to do whatever you do in contested zones. I still don't know what
Loot.
the whole
Loot. Yeah.
goal is, like looting, and aren't the comp boards down there for executive hangars?
Yeah. So
Heck, that's
contested
what I thought.
zones. Yeah, they give you the comp boards, they give you loot, so you can get ship components down there, ship weapons. That's where the NDBs come from. The NDBs 30s.
Yeah.
You have to do the contested zones.
Yeah, I figured that's what they were. So, I was just exploring, and then these two guys come out of nowhere. So I tried holding my own, and I got
decimated.
I got one shot. I took out one of them. But the other guy, I don't know what he had, but he had me in one shot. I think he had like an arc-light pistol or something like that. And it might have been an LMG of some sort, and it was just like my armor was gone in seconds. So
yeah. So contested zones were pretty hot topic with 4.1, and well, realistically 4.0. When they released Pyro, they released the contested zones, and they were actually a pretty well thought out part of the game. At first, I didn't like the fact that they locked a lot of stuff behind it, but then again, you can't get everything in the verse at your local spaceship shop. So I understand that. And they kind of screwed them up with Tier 0 item recovery being put in play, at least until that's flushed out and fixed. But I enjoy them. I've done them a handful of times, maybe 3-4 times with some of the guys in Machina. I would definitely like to run them a little more, because I do like, as Warlock can contest to, I do like PvP games. I have played like games like Scum and whatnot where we're just PvE, but I enjoy the games like, where there's a PvP aspect of it, because there's a risk versus reward, and that's where contested zones were, and the executive hangars was, you got to risk it to get the good stuff. And I hope they kind of build on that, kind of like the Hathor event, which is going to be a consistent thing. Same with the contested zones. You get the good ores, the good, materials to be able to go get stuff you can't get anywhere else in the verse. So I'm enjoying the stuff they're putting in and whatnot. But yeah, with that, I guess we're going to call that our final question.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
I do want to say this. There is, on the front page of the channel too, there is a suggestion box. Please fill that out. Let us know maybe what you would like us to discuss in next week's episode. Who knows? We might even throw an episode out during the weekend, during Org Night, or after Org Night. If everyone's not too tired, have some of the org members on, have other players come in and chit chat. But yeah, please use the suggestion box that's on there. I saw that Twitch had that. I'm going, ooh, this would be perfect. Because I am using my Discord. So I renamed my Discord and added it to have Citizen Talk. So we will have that in there, and we will have whatnot. But yeah, so next week, I think what we're going to... little teaser there. I think what we're going to talk about is, and we can have more people on next week. Still got to fine tune and figure out how this program works, because we're having minor issues with it, but we've kind of got it figured out. But next week, a couple topics we want to talk about is the new weather, the Valakar coming into the game, the new locations. We've already kind of gone over engineering, so I'm going to remove that from the discussion for next week unless we find out more. Definitely going to have to look up this roadmap roundup for May and see what all they have, whatnot, and what is coming into the next near future. Other than that, you know, like we said, this is this is new to us running a podcast. Something that I think content creators can be relatively good at because we talk to no one sometimes in our streams, and sometimes we just talk to ourselves, and it's something we can definitely get going and get good at. But
whenever I'm in stream, especially when I'm streaming Star Citizen, whether it's on Org-Night or playing with somebody else, I'm always thinking about strategy and coordinating and listening in. So I don't really talk a ton in my streams unless I have a moment to breathe, and that kind of shows when it's kind of funny because I've got two Discords. I've got one set up on my gaming PC, one set up on my streaming PC. And whenever we do Org-Night, I've got Chrono in one ear, and then I've got the ground team in another ear, and I'm popping in and out of the two chats. I'm like,
that's got to be interesting.
It is. It's helpful though, being able to just hit a button, go, hey, by the way, we need you over here, or move now. That's so much easier than, okay, I'm in this chat, I need to move over to this chat. Where's my mouse?
I mean, to be fair, I literally fell asleep the other night with your stream up and woke up to,
oh, thanks.
What the hell? And I just literally pulled the earbud out and went, and I'm going to bed. That was Sunday night, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I freaking fell asleep with Knight's stream up in my ear. But
that's funny.
Yeah, so next week our next episode, like I said, we'll figure out when we're gonna do it. We will definitely talk about 4.2 coming, current iterations, maybe get some other people in here and figure out what their takes on the current state of the verse are and what they'd like to see. I got nothing else. What do you got?
That's about it. I'm gonna explore some of the new locations, some of the mining locations, see if there's any. I've noticed that there's no Quantanium in any of the VHRT or ERT missions anymore, so I'm curious if they, with the new locations, made Quantanium a little bit easier to mine. I just haven't explored it. I usually mine off Salin or Lyria or one of those moons, so I'm curious if they've relocated the Quantanium elsewhere, so that we're not relying on the loot mission so much. But
yeah, we definitely got to look into that because
we've got some discovery and problem solving to find out, because there are things that we can do that CIG doesn't really dig into. They'll change things without letting us know, and then we've got to find the solution to it. Like last patch, they didn't really tell us, but they told us that there was problems with the regen system, and we are experiencing what the game story was supposed to experience. Like they were having issues with regens not spawning you where you're supposed to be spawning, and that was a thing, but they didn't actually tell us, by the way, you're going to experience this in the game. It just kind of happened, so we had to work around it.
I wonder if that was actually a bug, or if that was them throwing that in. Like I would love to know from CIG if that was a bug.
I don't think it was a bug, because after that patch, like, my regen has been solid and on point since that particular storyline has kind of gone away.
Oh, it's still ongoing. So what's funny about that, and I'm sorry, that's one thing we probably could have talked about, was if you notice in your contracts, you still have the Rayari missions.
Rayari, which ones?
So Rayari is the company that is actually trying to fix the regen issue.
Oh, gotcha.
So when you did the Hathor, you had a choice on whether or not you were going to take that stuff to Rakello, which, hey, cool shit, why not? Or you took it to Rayari, where you got paid for it. But
the research one.
Yeah. So
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, who knows? Because that was interesting that we would all set our respawns and then we'd be in this massive firefight, and the next thing we know,
why am I back in Pyro when I was just in Santa?
Yeah. Like, why am I here? Or you set it to Everest Harbor and you're spawning at Grim Hex and you're just like, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Like, my team's 30 GM that way, and now I'm supposed to spawn only 10 GM away. Now I got to drive another 20. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
but
precisely.
It was fun. You know, it's whether it was a bug or whether it was intended. It was a nice little result of the regen crisis and whatnot.
I'll keep it on I keep the faith in the game and say they did that intentionally to go along with the storyline. But yeah,
I mean, if it was a bug, it's a pretty damn cool bug.
It was.
It was a pretty cool bug. But
Warlock and Gada, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
that's all I've got. So
yeah, guys, those of you in chat, if you would be so kind, make sure you go and hit up both channels, hit that follow button. That way, when myself and Knight go live, which I just did that way, and he's over here. But yeah, I mean, it was a great show. I enjoyed it. I mean, for a little over 2 hours, there's a lot in Star Citizen we can talk about, and there's a lot of stuff that even other podcasters have talked about that we have differing opinions. And that's one of the great things about being able to start up a show like this is we can get y'all's opinions live in chat, and we just go with it. And but yeah, so make sure you go follow Knight, who is going to be going live right now, right after this, as his lights are flashing up.
Hey, my lights are going off. That means somebody's hitting follow buttons.
I was about to say he's got his red alert going off saying, "Hey."
I need to make the alert like the ship sound from either Spaceballs or like Star Trek.
Oh my God. Sir, he's gone plaid. Oh no, that was a great movie. But yeah.
Now hear this.
Yeah, go follow Blue, show him some love, show him some support. And make sure if you did enjoy this podcast, share it with your friends. It is being recorded, so it will be going live. I just got an alert that's coming over the stream. I don't know why it's coming over the stream, but thank you, whoever just followed my Twitch. I have to figure that one out, why the alert came over. But probably
no idea.
I don't know. It's been weird. I'm just gonna remove Twitch alert.
We'll get the kinks.
Yeah. I mean, once we got like all of this, all that you see here, guys, was thrown together in the last 2 days. The overlay, the name, everything was thrown together. I mean, me and Knight have been talking about it for about the past week, but everything was thrown together in the last 2 days, really. So it's been fun. But with that being said, folks, have yourselves a wonderful night. I'm going to give you my typical outro. Stay safe out there. See you in the verse. And as always, my friends, stay tactical. We'll see you next time. Kinky is fun. Yes. Have a good night. Stay tactical, my friends. We'll see you in the next one.
07 people.